friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I have a card featuring cat scrappiness. Over on the Cat Scrappiness blog, the September challenge is wine themed or wine inspired, and when I first got the wine builder dies from Cat Scrappiness, I really wanted to create vellum wine bottles and wine glasses because it would kind of mimic the transparency of actual glass. So I decided to make a card for the challenge, and to draw your attention, there is I believe it's a $25 gift certificate, but there's definitely a prize for the winner. And as always, there is a discount code in the video description that you can use to save if you want to purchase some products to use for the challenge. So I took some really thick vellum. I believe this is Basil 110 pound or maybe 100 pound. I forget what. Oh, wait, no. So sorry. Vellum, I think like thick vellum comes as 40 pound. Regardless, it's like I try to get some of the thickest vellum you can get. I know that a couple different people sell it. So for the glass of the wine bottle, I use the botanical alcohol ink, and for the wine, I'm using the Currant. And then I'll use the vellum without any alcohol ink on it for the wine glass itself to appear sort of clear. I covered my piece of vellum entirely with an adhesive, like a two-way tape. This happens to be Elizabeth Crafts tape, but like stick it works really well too. And then I was able to die cut those pieces. You can see there are some other colored pieces in there, and that's just my cardstock pieces that I had already on hand because I wasn't quite sure how things were going to go. And I had made those as examples for my haul video for Cat Scrappiness. But anyway, here is the vellum wine glass with the vellum colored wine inside of it. And when I added the color to the backgrounds, all I did was put some of the alcohol ink on the felt pad and swipe it around. And you could use felt applicator in any way you want. You don't have to have this specific Tim Holtz tool. If you don't have alcohol inks, another thing that works well to color vellum is alcohol-based markers such as Copics. So when I created this, I was kind of thinking, well, the wine is sitting on top of the glass, which obviously the wine would be behind the glass in an actual wine glass. So I decided to play with the idea of layering two wine glasses together so that the wine would look like it was inside of the glass. But because I'm using vellum and not transparency, it definitely looks like a sort of frosted glass as opposed to a really clear glass. So then the other thought would be, if you kind of like the idea but the colors aren't turning out quite the way you would like, then maybe just using plastic transparency instead of vellum. And that would work very much the same. You could color plastic transparency with alcohol inks or alcohol-based markers as well. So when I did this, I found that the wine color, of course, looks darker on top of the green because they're semi-transparent. It is mixing in there. And I also wanted to cut the wine label. I cut the wine label by making the large bottle and then lining up where the bottom piece that is kind of pre-cut for you and the top piece that's kind of pre-cut for you. I just kind of cut the extra in the center and made the wine label. So that's not a die that's actually in the set, but it's very easy to sort of snip it to the size that you need. And in this case, I'm deciding to make it so that the wine bottle is basically full, but has that little bit of breathing room towards the top. And I used a piece of cork to cut out the cork. There had some Sizzix like sticky backed cork on hand, but you could certainly get creative and find some, like scrap material or pick some up at the craft store. But I will incorporate that later on as well. So for the final card, I did decide to go with the wine glass where the wine is sitting on top as opposed to the double layer. And I wanted to keep the background simple but elegant. So I went to the Cat Scrappiness Peacock backdrop die. I can already tell that this is a die that I am going to use a lot because it just looks so pretty. Like you create so I hear I'm using it black on black, but I've already used it with like 2 different colors underneath. I've seen other Cat Scrappiness design team members ink up this background, and it just, no matter what way you use it, it looks gorgeous, and it's really simple to do, particularly if you have one of those Spellbinders or Sizzix like brushes that sort of pops out all those pieces. So I wanted to use the cork for my sentiment to kind of pull in the cork again, and also I knew that I needed a banner for my sentiment, and this is from the Wine Not stamp set from Cat Scrappiness, and I thought, well, I don't want to incorporate another color into it, so I could stamp it on some colored vellum, but I preferred the look of the cork. I realized that maybe not everyone would have some cork on hand, but if you do stamp on cork, I used VersaFine ink, which did stamp well, but as you can see right there, it kind of like bled off onto my paper, and that's because it's going to take a while to dry. You know, set it aside, let it have plenty of time, but if you want something that dries a little bit faster and will still stamp on cork, my other recommendation would probably be StazOn ink. I think that might have even been the smarter choice here. So at this point, I was like, well, you know, this is a pretty nice card. I think I might even be done. But I realized that the label didn't really have any interest or dimension to it. It looked kind of flat. So I decided to come in with some Copic marker to add a bit of shading, and basically I want to make the edges appear darker than the center, since that will give it some automatic dimension, you know, that the highlight will be on where it sticks out most. And even though the dimension is only on the label, I think it actually made the whole wine bottle look a lot better. I believe the colors that I'm using here are E53 and E50, but it kind of depends on what color label you're going for. I essentially wanted this to look like an off-white. I know that some other Cat Scrappiness design team members have kind of like added scripty words and stuff to it, or you could make your own sort of like wine label. You could personalize it. That might be really fun, like to kind of pretend like it was, it came from a vineyard of your friend's name or something like that. So again, I was like, okay, well, I like that dimension, but I think I want to just do one more something special to this. So I decided to come in with some sequins. Many of you know Cat has one of the like biggest, most awesome collections of sequins in her store. And so here, these particular sequins are actually from a mix. It is the Breakfast at Tiffany's mix, which has silver, black, and teal, which is a beautiful color combination, but sometimes you just need the one color. And I am such a sucker for Cat's glitter sequins. Like, they are my absolute favorite. And Breakfast at Tiffany's is one of the ones where literally they're all glitter, but she also has some new Halloween and Christmas ones that have glitter sequins, so I'm super excited about those. You could check them out. And so I just added some sequins towards the top of the card. In order to attach those, I did use mini glue dots. I have a hard time knowing when enough is enough with sequins, but I think that it worked out. That's it for my card today. Remember, this is for the Cat Scrappiness Wine Challenge, so you can check that out in the video description and also get a coupon code to Cat Scrappiness. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in more craft tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.